Hi, my name's Laura Barman, and I'm a homeschool mom of 6 kids, ages 1 to 13, and this video is about my 3rd grade son from last school year and what he did for homeschool. So we started the day with Bible, and we had a little stint where we were doing this Ergermeier's Bible story. I just felt like I wanted something new. I really like it. It covers like the whole Bible. It's in-depth. It's much more in-depth than lots of other children's Bibles that I've heard. But we ended up coming back to the Abeka just because of the pictures, and I love the way they do the stories too. So we did crucifixion and resurrection. We really focused on the life of Jesus this year. After that, we did the boyhood and ministry of Jesus. This is from their 3rd grade level. Jesus heals and helps. The later ministry of Jesus. Parables of Jesus, number 1. Parables of Jesus, number 2. The life of Paul, batch 1. It's called series 1, and the life of Paul, series 2, which is, it's basically the book of Acts. And then for the holidays, we kind of paused and we did the first Thanksgiving, which just takes about a week, and then the first Christmas, which takes like maybe a week or 2. It depends on how fast you go through the Bible stories. In the teacher guide, they have you spend at least 2 days on a story, so I kind of kept on that pace. I also wanted to share what we've been doing in the evenings. We love this Our Family Ways by Sally and Clay Clarkson. This is just amazing. This is 24, I don't know how to describe it, 24 family ways, and each way has 5 devotions. So it's taken us many years actually to work through this because we are not as consistent as we would like to be, but it talks about just so many topics, and every day there's multiple Bible verses to look up, and then they do discuss every Bible verse and have just some fun questions to talk about as a family. We've really enjoyed that. And then we also started reading this. It couldn't just happen because my kids, I felt like they were asking lots of questions along these lines at their ages, and so we just wanted to read straight through this with the proof of like how science points to there being a creator. We really enjoyed that and plan to keep reading that. In the morning, we did classical conversations memory work review, and I made these binders. They're really simple, just for cycle 1 was last year, and I just took pages out of the foundations guide in page protectors so that we could kind of follow along what the memory work was. And I made a YouTube playlist of the memory work songs. I would a lot of times play that while they were eating breakfast. That's kind of what we've always done. Now, we do mix it up from time to time. Some years we've done like Spanish videos added on. This year we did Sing the Word Bible memory songs added on, and those were a huge highlight of the year. So those are like big passages of scripture, and it took us about 6 weeks to memorize like one of the songs, because the songs would be like a full chapter, maybe 5 or 6 minutes long. So we would just learn a little bit, sing a little bit, learn it, sing it, learn it, sing it. And I mean, it was really fun to learn, and even my 3-year-old learned a lot. That actually was recommended by Sunlight, the American History Part 2, Core E. So that's how we found that resource. But they're all on YouTube. So, and on the Sing the Word website, you can download PDFs for that. And it was a lot of Psalms this year. It also had like John 15, it had Hebrews 12, and then I think like 3 or 4 Psalms. So we really enjoyed that. As always, we did this We Draw to Learn, which is the product that I made a couple years ago, and I always do a shout out for this because it's just so fun to do along with the memory work. Here's some examples of some of the things my kids have like drawn and colored, and you know, it might take them like a couple of days to do this, but it's just a fun thing. I feel like it's just like adds to the learning so much to not only sing it and say it and watch the video, but also try to draw it. It's a way that we've been able to like incorporate art with the science memory work. And this upcoming year will be CC Cycle 2, but the Etsy shop has all the cycles on there. So then once the day got started, he would do his co-op. We have a co-op that we do that has a science class. He did BJU Science Level 2. He's actually kind of borderline 2nd and 3rd grade, so at co-op he's in 2nd grade. And then he also did a geography class there where they learned about Antarctica in Australia. And then he had an art class where they used Meet the Masters. And I don't have any evidence of that, but he had like binders and learned a ton through that. For grammar and English, he did BJU Press. This was a shift for us, and I did this with my daughter, but I still enjoyed it. We shifted from Abeka to BJU for English, and the reason we did do that is because Abeka tries to do like writing lessons and grammar lessons on top of each other on the same day. BJU just like does units and it rotates. So you're like either doing a unit on grammar, punctuation, those sorts of things, parts of speech, or you're doing a unit on writing and it rotates. And I just feel like that's all we can handle. And I also feel like that's all that's necessary. So we would do like maybe 2 weeks on grammar, take a test on that, then 2 weeks on writing a type of maybe like writing a story or writing a letter, and then have a end of the session project on that, and then go back to the punctuation. And the punctuation grammar ones had tests. The writing component had like your end product is the written product, whatever it is, the letter, the story, things like that. So he really enjoyed that. And then we also do Fix It Grammar. I kind of think about this as like a handwriting. So they label the sentence parts. I'll just give you an example. They label the sentence parts, and that tells you what you're looking for, and then he'll label it, and then I'll check it off and go over it with him. And then he also has to define a word, and then he has to write it in the bottom. So for him, he has learned cursive, but we were done with our cursive book. And actually I had another cursive book that he could have used, but this I just feel like did so many things together. It does like vocab, grammar, punctuation, handwriting, and then it's like an easy thing that takes us like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to go over together at the end of the day. For spelling, we do spelling workout. It's super simple, super easy. They just have a list of words right here. They have some projects, some little, not projects, but little things to do during the week. Normally do like 1 box a day. Then when I do the test, I just write in red here the ones that they got wrong from the previous week so that he knows to practice those words as well. And he always had his little dictionary with him for that. I missed that. Fix It Grammar requires a dictionary. That was why that was on the shelf with that. Math Mammoth, we continue to love for 3rd grade math. I print and bind these, and it takes 4 of them to get through for the year. You can also buy them printed off. It's probably easier. I don't know. At one point I got like a download of all the levels, so I've just had that for years. But I feel like this is a good level for him to be at, and he enjoyed this. It can be independent. There's no teacher guide. It will teach in the actual book. For example, like there will be like a little box there, and that's like the teaching box, and then the problems start down here. So what I really, really like about that is it helps them become more independent kind of naturally, because at first you're reading the box with them, you're teaching them, and then kind of gradually as like I've gotten busy or whatever, as he's become a better reader, I could just be like, hey, how about you try to read the box and see if you understand? And I did feel like throughout the year he was doing more of that. Now I still go back and correct it with a red pen, and then he's supposed to do the corrections of previous pages, and then we kind of look at problem spots together after that. So it's kind of like that correcting the corrections phase, and then going over problem spots with me is mainly my job, is to like go over the corrections that they didn't understand. Even though he did science with our co-op, we just love to do science as a family. Now we had a 1-year-old this year, and I feel like we didn't get through as much as we normally do, but we found this random book. We got it through a Sunlight book pack, and it was called Introduction to Biology by John Holtzman. And I felt like it really lined up really, really well with this CC biology. And it just like goes through so many concepts, and I don't even know if you can find it anymore, but it's just kind of like a chapter book on like all sorts of things about flowers, animals, classification of living things. We did this at the beginning of the year. It probably took us like 2 months. So this was great. I really enjoyed that. I also found this Science in the Beginning book from Berean Builders. It was just recommended over and over. So I love this though. We didn't make it very far at all. We probably did like 15 lessons, but I plan to use it for next year. And It's basically a short lesson, and then at the end of every lesson, there's comprehension questions for different ages of kids. So it helps you as a teacher have a big variety of learners, and then it even gives them different activities based on their age, and all it requires is just like a blank journal. So they just had a blank white paper journal to like make notes on and draw things. This is another find. I just love Usborne, and I found this on, I don't know, eBay or something. It's called the Nature Trail Omnibus, and it's 6 books in one. And it was basically our morning read aloud. So I'll just give you, like, it's just really, really colorful. It has so many pictures. It's like really, really detailed nature learning, I felt like. So I read this to my 5-year-old and 8-year-old, and it took us probably a semester to read through the whole thing in the morning, but we just did we read 4 pages a day. So we would do 2 spreads like this a day. And I felt like that was just a perfect amount of like nature, science learning for them. That was on the day that we like didn't do this. This was probably like a once every other week occurrence in our family. This was done daily with my younger kids, kind of as their like little science supplement. And then for history, we did Story of the World Volume 3, and did the activity book questions. I really love the narration help for this. It has like comprehension questions, and then also some guided narration. And one last thing we did with my 3rd grader last year was the Constitution and Government study from Good and the Beautiful. This took us a semester. The Story of the World Book 3 took us a semester, and this took us a semester. So this might have taken us a little longer than a semester because we were kind of rotating between Story of the World and this. This was labeled as grades 4 through 8, and I thought I could like stretch my 3rd grader to do it. It was a challenge for him. I think that he learned a lot actually, but I don't think he learned like everything he was supposed to get out of it. So like he could probably redo this and definitely get more out of it as an older child. There was a lot of biographies, like U.S. Like key figures biographies that were audiobooks included. There was just so much packed into this. I was like blown away. But we did read the whole Constitution and go like item by item, making sure they understood what was in it and why. And they made it really fun and engaging too. There was a read aloud that went with it called Mystery on Constitution Island. And then there was this student journal that they said to get for the older kids. And then they said for the younger kids, get this activity book. Well, my son really, really would have done better with this, because this is called the U.S. Constitution Student Journal. It was almost like required. I felt like in the teacher book, it would be like, turn to this page and do this on this page. Well, he had this like younger kid learning thing, and it never corresponded. So I guess I didn't really understand that, but when I was ordering. So I wish I would have gotten this. No matter what age, if you have a kid that is going to be sitting in and like wanting to participate, just get them this. So yeah, that's everything for my 3rd grader. We had a great year. He helped me a lot with watching my baby. I feel like he normally sits in on the read alouds a little bit more. This year he didn't really. So we're going to hope to improve that for next year, that he will get to sit on some read alouds next year, a little bit more than he did this past year. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.